Hello, class. Thank you very much for your patience as you listen to my lecture, and I hope that whatever clarifications that you will be having, I reach out to me so that I can address yung mga concerns ninyo with respect to or as far as genetics and livestock improvement or genetics and animal breeding is concerned. So let's start with my discussion. Ang topic ko for this part or for this lecture video will focus on genetics and animal breeding. So let's start with gene action. When we say gene action, ito yung effect ng genes. Ano ba yung influence ng genes sa ating mga phenotype or performance ng mga hayop? Ngayon, sakalang na-express ang phenotype kapag nasa diploid phase yung gene. Ang ibig sabihin ng diploid phase, may ka-pair. Kaya sabi dito sa presentation, genes may be active only when they occur in pairs of alleles during the diploid phase. When we say diploid phase, sila yung may kapares. Yung allele may ka-pair. Halimbawa, yung ginamit natin na gene is gene A. Therefore, the possible genotypes would be homozygous dominant A, or yung parehong capital letter, heterozygous A, or yung combination ng dominant allele at saka recessive allele, and yung homozygous recessive A. So, dun sa mga sinabi ko na genotypes, they are in pairs. Kapag kasi haploid phase siya, allele ang tawag natin doon. Kapag genotype, nasa diploid phase. Yun lang yung ibig sabihin nito. Ngayon, may iba't ibang klase ng gene action. There are two general classifications of gene action. Number one is additive. Pag sinabi nating additive, nag-a-add lang from the term add. Nag-a-add lang yung effect ng bawat allele para ma-produce yung phenotype ng particular trait. And usually, yung additive gene action, siya yung nag-govern sa expression ng ating mga quantitative traits. Yun ha, additive type of gene action. Kaya naman, wala tayong makikitang difference sa wala tayong distinction na makikita na halimbawa kung ito yung kanyang genotype, ito lang yung kanyang magiging phenotype. Kung halimbawa sabihin mo ang genotype niya ay homodominant A, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na siya ay large body size. I hope you understand na kapag sinabi nating capital letter A or homodominant A, di ba usually how we read two capital letters ay homozygous dominant. But in the case of additive, wala kasi tayong kinoconsider na dominant at saka recessive allele. Technically, wala tayong kinoconsider na dominant at saka recessive allele kapag ang type of gene action ay additive. Bakit? Ma'am, bakit wala? Di ba ang pag-pronounce natin ay homodominant, hetero, or homorecessive? Wala kasi hindi naman minamask ng capital letter yung effect ng lowercase letter. So yun yung rason kung bakit we add. Next, non-additive. When we say non-additive, nag-i-interact lang yung dalawang alleles, yung members of an allelic pair for dominance. For epistasis, nag-i-interact naman yung dalawang gene pairs. Halimbawa, you have gene A at saka gene B. Mag-i-interact lang yung gene A at saka gene B. Sa dominance, mag-i-interact yung dominant allele at saka recessive allele. Yun lang yung difference ng dalawa. But the similarity is interaction sila. Kaya siya natawag na non-additive because the effect does not add, but rather the effect or the phenotype will be produced because of the interaction between the two alleles for one gene pair and between the two genes for two gene pairs. Ngayon, may dalawang klase ng dominance. Complete dominance. Yan yung case kapag yung capital letter minamask or piniprevent fully yung expression ng recessive allele. Complete dominance yon. Incomplete dominance, kapag hindi kayang i-mask completely or fully ng capital letter ang recessive allele. Kaya ang nangyayari, ang nagiging phenotype ng heterozygous natin ay mixture. Next, codominance. Pag codominance naman, parehong dominant. Kaya may express ay doon sa phenotype, makikita mo yung itsura, yung kulay. Kung halimbawa, red yung kulay ng capital letter, yung lowercase naman, ang kulay ay white, makikita mo doon sa phenotype ng heterozygote individual, magiging spotted red and white. Or kung yan ay black and white, spotted black and white. Hindi siya magiging gray. Kung gray yung resulting phenotype ng heterozygous natin, ang type of gene action governing the expression of that phenotype ay incomplete dominance. Next, number 4, kapag sinabi nating overdominance, yung heterozygous individual, mas maganda yung performance kaysa sa phenotype or performance ng homozygous dominant at saka homozygous recessive. Yun yung overdominance. Next, proceed tayo sa recessive epistasis at saka dominant epistasis. In order for you to visualize yung recessive epistasis, ganito siya. Nilalagay natin yung gene assignment. Meron tayong tinatawag na gene assignment. Yun lang yung ginagamit natin o yung ginagawa natin kahalimbawa. Kapag capital A or dominant A, ang kulay niya, gauti. Kapag naman lowercase a, ang kulay niya ay black. Kapag naman capital letter C, express. Kapag naman lowercase c or recessive C, suppress or inhibit. Please do not be confused dito sa pagsulat natin ng gene assignment. Inyanay ko laang amin. Iso nga, syempre, pa-sentence form iso na. But when we write, ganito siya. Di ba kapag sinusulat natin is, we have capital A, dash, agouti. O yan. Lowercase a, o saan na yung cursor ko? Lowercase a, dash, black. O, ganyan siya kung shortcut. Pero dito kasi naka-sentence. Pero if you are to notice, yung kanyang recessive, kapag recessive epistasis, yung recessive allele sa kabilang gene, in this case, ang kabilang gene natin is letter C. Ang recessive allele, siya yung nag-inhibit or nagsusuppress. Inhibit, lowercase c. So kapag recessive epistasis, it's the lowercase allele or the recessive allele that suppress or prevents yung phenotype sa kabila. Ma'am, bakit ano yung sinasabi mong kabila? I'm referring to the other gene pair. Kasi kapag sinabi nating epistasis, we are referring or we are considering two gene pairs. Pag sinabi nating two gene pairs, we are looking at two letters. So, ang first gene pair is yung letter A, ang second gene pair yung letter C. Nakuha? So, since here, ang recessive epistasis or recessive allele suppresses or inhibits the phenotype to be expressed by this letter or by this genotype, ang mangyayari, anong mapoproduce na kulay? Wala, albino. O, halimbawa dito, di ba itong recessive A, sinabi doon sa gene assignment na this homozygous recessive A is black ang kulay. Dito naman, capital letter C. So, express. Ibig sabihin, ang final na kulay nito is black. Ito naman, ang kulay ng homodominant A, kapag ang individual, ang genotype ay homodominant A, ang kulay niya ay, dito sa gene assignment, sabi, agouti. Ito naman, homorecessive A, sinabi sa gene assignment, inhibit. Therefore, may inhibit yung expression ng agouti. Kaya ang may express na kulay ay hindi black, hindi agouti, kundi albino. Nakuha, ganun siya yung recessive epistasis. Nangyayari yung recessive epistasis or napoproduce yung albino kasi pinaprevent nitong recessive from the term recessive epistasis. Pinaproduce ng recessive homozygous recessive genotype yung albino. Pinaprevent niya na ma-express yung kulay ng katabing gene pair. Next, pag dominant epistasis naman, ang nagpre-prevent na ma-express yung kanyang katabi, ma-express yung phenotype ng katabing gene pair ay yung capital letter or yung dominant. Kaya siya natawag na epistasis. Kumbaga, kabaliktaran lang siya ng recessive epistasis. Next, proceed tayo dito sa tanong. The expression of the coat color of shorthorn cattle is governed by incomplete dominance, wherein heterozygotes express the roan color, while the two homozygotes produce the red and white coat color. Therefore, which of the following statements is true? Ano kaya ibig sabihin nito? Very mahaba. Ang sinasabi lang dito is ini-introduce sa inyo na yung trait ng shorthorn cattle na coat color ay governed by the gene action incomplete dominance. O, recall natin ulit yung incomplete dominance. Pag sinabi natin incomplete dominance, yung phenotype ng hetero ay mixture ng phenotype ng dalawang purebred parents or dalawang homozygous parents na magkaiba ng phenotype. Ngayon, ang sinasabi dito is, ano yung mga phenotypes niya? Heterozygotes express the roan color. Kung na-recall nyo, ang sinabi ko last time na roan color ay yung kulay brown or kulay maroon. While the two homozygotes produce the red and the white. Therefore, which of the following is true? Alin kaya dito yung true? A red calf can still be produced when a white heifer is mated to white bull. This is wrong already. Kasi white crossed with white is recessive, therefore wala dapat mapoproduce na dominant. Kapag krinos mo ang dalawang recessive phenotype, lahat ng anak, recessive. So letter A is false. Next, letter B. The mating among roan cattle produces an offspring phenotypic ratio equal to their genotypic ratio. O, recall naman ulit natin. Paano ba mag-compute ng phenotypic ratio at genotypic ratio? Pag sinabi nating phenotypic ratio, syempre kailangan natin i-cross yung kanilang respective phenotypes or para mas madali, i-translate mo muna yung phenotype into genotype. Kunin mo muna yung genotypic ratio. So, paano yung genotypic ratio? If you are to examine the problem, sinasabi lang yan, the mating among roan. Pag pinag-cross daw natin yung dalawang hetero, so that is equal to 1/4 homodominant A is to 1/2. Sorry, this should be dominant. Homodominant. 1/4 homodominant, 1/2 hetero, and 1/4 homo-recessive. Or 1:2:1. Ngayon, yan yung genotypic ratio ha. Now, we translate itong genotypes into their respective phenotypes. Ano ang phenotype ng homodominant A? That is red. Ano ang phenotype ng roan? Anong phenotype ng hetero? The roan. Ito, anong phenotype ng homo-recessive? This is white. Ang ratio, phenotypic ratio, 1/4, 1/2 is to 1/4, or still the same, 1:2:1. So, letter B is the correct answer. Ito siya. Letter B ang tamang sagot dito. This is the challenge kapag nagdi-discuss tayo via Zoom or via lecture, ano tawag dito? Via online lecture video. Next, mechanics of inheritance. Ito, nire-recall lang natin yung law ni Mendel. No? Mechanics, yung law ni Mendel na law of segregation at saka law of independent assortment. If you recall, yung sinasabi ko na law of segregation and law of independent assortment, those two concepts are just pareho na paghihiwalay, separation. Pero ang difference nila sa law of segregation, one gene pair. One gene pair, ang pinaghiwalay natin, ibig sabihin, yung members of an allelic pair, separate. Ibig sabihin ng one gene pair, halimbawa, hetero. Pag sinaamlaang lang J-dominant, yung recessive allele. Numot law of independent assortment, ang pinaghihiwalay natin ay independent daw yung paghihiwalay ng gene A at saka gene B. Independent yung separation or segregation of the members of an allelic pair for gene A and for gene B. Next, non-Mendelian inheritance. Pag sinabing non-Mendelian, it does not follow the principles of Mendel. Ano ba yung principles ni Mendel? O, kakasabi lang natin, yung law of segregation at saka law of independent assortment. It does not follow this. Kung hindi niya finalo ito, syempre, it leads to variations in phenotypic ratios. Di ba ang ratios ni Mendel ay 1:2:1? Or 3:1, or yung 9:3:3:1. O recall the phenotypic ratio resulting from a dihybrid cross, 9:3:3:1. Ngayon, kapag daw non-Mendelian yung pattern of inheritance for a particular trait, hindi susunod sa 9:3:3:1 or 9:3:3:1, but rather a different ratio. And ano yung mga examples ng instances kung saan nagkakaroon ng ganon? Kapag mayroong linkage, kapag mayroong sex-related traits, gene interactions, multiple allelism, pleiotropy, non-nuclear inheritance, or yung tinatawag nating maternal effects. Pag sinabi nating linkage, doon sa chromosome, may malapit or may magkalapit na genes or loci doon sa chromosome. And kapag nangyari yon, ang tendency is they tend to be inherited together. Ito siya, the more, ano tawag dito? Kapag mas malapit, the nearer the genes together or the nearer the loci together, mas higher yung chance na ma-inherit sila together. The closer the loci or the closer the genes are, in a chromosome, the higher is the possibility or the tendency that they will be inherited together. Yun siya. Kahit may crossing over na naganap during prophase 1, high pa rin yung chance. Bakit? Kasi magkatabi sila. So, future generations, ganun yung magyayari. Magkatabi. Halimbawa, agabay kuma ni dominant A at saka recessive B doon sa chromosome. Yung susunod na generations, ganin dun yung pattern. Magkasunod pa rin or magkatabi yung dominant A at saka recessive B. Yun yung concept ng linkage ha. Bakit nangyayari yung linkage? Kasi sa bawat cell kasi natin sa ating katawan ay 46 chromosomes lang ang meron tayo na tao. Sa baboy, they have 38 chromosomes. Sa cattle, 60 chromosomes, etc. Pero marami tayong genes present kada cell. So para mga hundreds or even thousands of genes present in our cell. So para ma-accommodate ng ating cell yung mga thousands or hundreds of genes natin, kailangan kada chromosome ay more than one. More than one ang mag-i-stay. Or more than one ang i-carry ng kada chromosome. More than one gene. So tendency is, syempre, maraming mag-occupy na genes kada chromosome. Parang din sa classroom, kapag marami kayong estudyante, siksikan. Pero syempre, kapag tatatlo lang, alangan naman na magsiksikan pa kayo, di ba? So parang ganun din, dahil marami tayong genes sa bawat cell natin, tendency is, marami ding magkakatabi na genes kada chromosome. Kaya nangyayari yung linkage. Okay? Next, yung sex-related traits naman, yun yung tinatawag nating merong relationship or may association sa sex ng hayop or sex ng tao. Halimbawa, yung sex-limited trait, sex-influence trait, or yung tinatawag nating sex-linked trait. Pag sinabi mong sex-linked trait, ang gene na nagko-control sa expression ng trait na yan ay matatagpuan sa sex chromosome. So it's either X chromosome siya or Y chromosome. Or in the case of poultry, it's either nasa Z chromosome or W na chromosome. Yun siya, kapag sinabing sex-linked, ang gene na nagkocontrol sa trait na yan ay matatagpuan sa sex chromosome. Pangalawang klase ng sex-related trait, sex-influence trait. Pag sinabi naman na sex-influence trait, yung gene na nagkocontrol sa trait na yan ay makikita sa autosomes or yung mga chromosomes natin na not located sa egg cell at saka sperm cell. Pag sinabi mong autosomes, yun yung mga chromosomes present in all body cells natin. Okay? In all body cells. Ngayon, kaya siya tinawag na influence, sex influence, kasi yung phenotype na may express ay nakadepende sa sex ng hayop. Halimbawa, kung ikaw ay babae, ito yung phenotype mo. Kung ikaw ay lalaki, ito yung phenotype mo. Pero pareho kayo ng genotype. Yun siya. And then yung pangatlong klase ng sex-related trait, yun yung tinatawag nating sex-limited trait. Kaya siya tinawag na limited kasi limited to one sex lang ang phenotype or ang phenotype na ma-express. Ang common examples for sex-limited traits ay yung mga egg production. Egg production, milk production, milk yield, yolk color, ano pa ba? Egg weight, etc. Yung mga binanggit ko na traits, sila ay na-express lang sa females. So, yun yung halimbawa, sex-limited traits. Yun yung mga traits na na-express lang sa either male or female. Marami tayong examples sa female. Pero sa male, ang usual examples natin ng sex-limited traits ay semen volume, sperm concentration, sperm motility. What else? Testicle size, penile length, etc. Yun yung examples natin for sex-limited traits. Ibig sabihin, na-express lang sa either male or female. Next, yun namang gene interactions, ang halimbawa nito ay yung tinatawag nating novel phenotypes. Kaya siya tinawag na novel phenotype kasi yung merong bagong phenotype na mapoproduce. Halimbawa, if you are familiar with the single comb, tapingar, single comb ng manok, or meron din tayong tinatawag na pea comb, rose comb, at saka yung walnut. Yun yung 4 na common type of comb sa poultry. Ngayon, kapag pinag-cross mo kasi ang rose comb at saka pea comb may bagong phenotype na ma-express. Nakuha. Pag pinag-cross mo ang rose at saka pea comb. Pero kung ang genotype niya ay lahat recessive, ang mapoproduce, single comb. So, pinaka-recessive ang single comb. Kaya siya tinawag na interaction kasi mag-i-interact yung two gene pairs. So, different siya ha sa epistasis. Although, epistasis also belongs to gene interactions. Maraming klase yon. Ang example is dominant epistasis, recessive epistasis, at saka yung binanggit ko na novel phenotypes. Next, multiple allelisms. Ang halimbawa nito ay yung blood type group. Kaya siya tinawag na multiple allelism kasi many alleles ang pwedeng maging present sa isang locus. Halimbawa yung AB o blood group or blood type natin na A, blood type B, blood type AB, at saka blood type O. So dun sa nabanggit ko na blood type, meron tayong tatlong possible na alleles. It's either A, B, or O. Okay? Next, pleiotropy naman. Pag sinabi nating pleiotropy, pag sinabi nating pleion, many. Di ba usually kasi, ang sinusulat natin, gene A codes for coat color. Or sometimes we write, gene B codes for baldness. Or gene C codes for ear orientation. Gene H codes for flower color, etc. Doon sa examples ko or sa mga nabanggit ko, one gene codes for one trait. Di ba? Yun yung usual examples. But in reality, one gene can control many traits. And yun yung pleiotropy na tinatawag natin. Pleiotropy, ibig sabihin yan, yung isang gene pwedeng mag-control ng maraming traits, more than one. And yan yung nagiging rason kung bakit yan yung isang rason kung bakit mahirap i-improve ang hayop. Kasi halimbawa gene A. Gene A controls egg production at saka body weight. Di ba ang gusto natin or ang preferred na size ng manok or body size ng manok para masabing siya ay good layer ay smaller body size. Yung mga egg type breeds of chicken natin, they have smaller body size. Tapos, sila ay good egg producers or excellent egg producers. Ngayon, they are negatively correlated. Yung body weight at saka egg production ay negatively correlated. Ang ibig sabihin nun, kapag mas malaki kasi yung katawan or body size ng manok, mas mahirapan siyang maitlog. Mas mababa yung kanyang egg production. So kung ikaw yung farmer, mahirapan mong sabi or mas mahirap na i-improve or i-increase yung kanyang weight and egg production at the same time because they are negatively correlated. Pag sinabing nating negatively correlated, kapag i-increase mo yung isa, bababa yung isa. Kapag i-increase mo yung egg production, talagang maliit talaga yung size, body size niya. Pero kung gusto mong tumaba yung manok, bababa naman yung egg production. Yan yung example ng pleiotropy. Yung isang gene, nagkocontrol ng maraming traits. And then next, non-nuclear inheritance. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kung naalala ninyo yung sinabi ko last time na mitochondrial DNA, merong DNA sa labas ng nucleus, di ba? Kasi usually yung DNA matatagpuan sa nucleus. Pero yung mitochondria natin, which is located in the cytoplasm, which is outside the nucleus, meron siyang DNA. And yun yung responsible for non-nuclear inheritance. Yung mga maternal effects, pag sinabing maternal effects, yun yung mga phenotype na na-observe natin that we inherit. Na-observe natin sa offspring, inherited from the mother. Yun, maternal effects. Halimbawa, yung kanyang yung maternal behavior or maternal effects, it's because of the presence of the mitochondrial DNA. Next. Oh, we have here a question. Following the law of segregation, how many gametes can be produced from an individual that is homozygous recessive for two pairs of genes? I repeat the question. Following the law of segregation, how many gametes can be produced from an individual that is homozygous recessive for two pairs of genes? So in order for you to understand this, para mas ma-visualize natin, let's write. Sabi niya, two recessive. Homozygous recessive, so lowercase, di ba? Parehong lowercase kasi sinabi niya homo. Tapos, meron tayong dito dinagdag, 2 pairs of genes. So, you add another pair. Ibig sabihin, you add another pair of letters. So, suppose this is lowercase b. O, yan yung sinasabi na genotype. Ilang gametes daw ang mapoproduce mo from this genotype? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Sa ano tawag dito, sa pag-produce ng gametes, apply natin yung law of segregation ni Mendel or yung law of independent assortment in this case because it has 2 gene pairs. So, separate lang natin pag sinaan tayo laang, dito yung duwang recessive allele. And then, duwang recessive allele dito ay ang TB, lowercase b, pero hindi dyan nagtatapos. Dapat we connect. We connect A with B and another A with B. Therefore, yung connection ng A at saka B will produce recessive A, recessive B, comma, recessive A, recessive B. Itong unang recessive A, recessive E, galing dito, 1. Yan. Next, yung susunod, ito, recessive A and recessive B. Combination. Ngayon, anong sagot sa question? Ang sagot is hindi 2. Ma'am, duwa matin surat mo. This is 1, 1, at saka 2. Pwede sana yun. Kaya lang, if you are to look at the type of gametes, pareho lang. Pareho lang sila na recessive A at saka recessive B. So therefore, ang sagot natin dito, we have to simplify. Imbes na 2, 1 ang sagot. Nakuha. Because we have to simplify our answers. Next. Which of the following inheritance patterns is an example of non-Mendelian inheritance? Okay, I repeat the question. Which of the following inheritance patterns is an example of non-Mendelian inheritance? Is it letter A, complete dominance, B, incomplete dominance, C, pure breeding, D, monohybrid cross? Okay, let's eliminate, no? We should eliminate letter D, monohybrid cross. Because this is not an inheritance pattern. Kasi ang hanapin natin, tinatanong niya, inheritance pattern. Monohybrid cross is not an inheritance pattern. Kasi sabi nga sa terminology, cross. So it's a mating, not an inheritance pattern. So we eliminate monohybrid cross. We are left with A, B, and C. Complete dominance, incomplete, and pure breeding. Tinatanong is non-Mendelian. Yung pure breeding din, it's not a pattern of inheritance, but rather a mating system. Pure breeding is a mating system. Monohybrid cross is a mating pattern din siya. Okay? So, we remove C and D. We are already left with complete dominance and incomplete dominance. Balikan natin yung tanong. Tinatanong, non-Mendelian. Si Mendel, kung maalala ninyo, nag-work siya sa 7P traits. 7 yung traits na in-study ni Mendel. And lahat ng mga iyon, sinasabi, it follows the complete dominance type of gene action or complete dominance na inheritance pattern. So, ang sagot, kapag complete dominance, Mendelian inheritance yon. So, ang sagot, letter B. The answer for the question is incomplete dominance because it does not follow the Mendelian inheritance pattern. Next, nabanggit ko din ito kanina, mitochondrial DNA. So, mitochondrial DNA inheritance follows a pattern known as A, autosomal recessive inheritance, B, autosomal dominant inheritance, C, maternal inheritance, or D, paternal inheritance. Di ba kung nakitay ni mitochondrial DNA kat makita ijay cytoplasm. Nasa cytoplasm. Ma'am, bakit mo sinasabi yan? Kasi during fertilization, what unites is the nucleus of the sperm at saka yung nucleus ng egg. Pero, so nucleus na yon, kumbaga nuclei fusion. Ngayon, ano yung magiging cytoplasm nila? What will become the cytoplasm of the resulting zygote is the cytoplasm coming from the egg cell or coming from the mother. So therefore, yung mitochondria ni nanay, mitochondrial DNA ni nanay, ay may ipapasa from parent to anak. Therefore, dito, yung pattern of inheritance is maternal inheritance kasi the pattern of inheritance is from mother to offspring only. That is the correct answer. So, eliminate the paternal inheritance. Yung letter A at saka letter B, eliminate mo din yan. Kasi, hindi mo madedetermine kung recessive or dominant. Wala naman siyang sinabi na trait. Kapag meron siyang sinabi na trait or in-specify na trait doon sa tanong, huwag mong i-eliminate ang A at saka B. Pero since general ang kanyang tinatanong, mitochondrial DNA inheritance pattern, ang sagot ay letter C. Next, which of the following traits demonstrate a Mendelian inheritance pattern? A. Albinism in carabaos, yung pagpuproduce daw natin ng albino. B. Comb type in chickens. C. Egg production in mallard ducks. Or D. Ear orientation in white sows. Kung napapansin ninyo, halos magkakakonect yung mga concept na pinag-uusapan natin bawat slide. Kasi nabanggit ko rin kanina yung Mendelian inheritance pattern eh. Di ba yung Mendelian inheritance is pina-follow niya yung complete dominance? So hanapin ngayon natin dito ang may complete dominance na inheritance pattern. O, nabanggit natin yung pagpuproduce ng albino kanina sa epistasis. Itong comb type, nabanggit ko rin kanina sa novel phenotypes or yung gene-to-gene interactions. Yun namang egg production, this is an example of quantitative trait. And yung quantitative trait, it is governed by additive type of gene action. O, ang orientation naman, this is governed by non-additive type of gene action, particularly complete dominance. Therefore, the answer to the question is letter D. Letter D because ear orientation follows complete dominance and complete dominance is the type of gene action kapag ang tinatanong ay Mendelian inheritance pattern. Next, Marites decided to mate only the roan heterozygous polled bulls to roan horned cows. Suppose the mating produced an offspring population of 100. Given that coat color and polledness are governed by incomplete dominance and complete dominance respectively, how many calves are expected to be roan and horned? Marites decided to mate only the roan. So kung magiging parents lang, roan heteropolled, at saka roan horned cows. But before we proceed, let us first illustrate. So kung ang magiging tatay ay roan hetero. So meron tayong dalawang gene, A and B. Sabihin natin A at saka B. Yung dominant A produces the red na kulay. Saan na naman galing ang red? Yung red, roan at saka white, they follow incomplete dominance. Okay? Next. Yung lowercase a, white. Yung dominant B, bakit may B? Kasi two traits ang pinag-uusapan natin. Yung coat color at saka polledness or yung presence or absence of horns. Next, yung dominant B naman, dahil it follows complete dominance, we have polledness. Dominant B is polled. Nasaan na yung cursor? Dominant B is polled. Polled. At saka recessive B, kapag recessive B naman, horned. Horned, may sungay. Ano yung parents naman? Saan kaya yon? Okay, magsulat tayo ng maayos ha. Kapag sinabi natin na incomplete dominance, ganito yung itsura. Saan na yon? Kapag ito yung parents, we know that the anak or the offspring ay ganito. Homodominant, hetero at saka homorecessive. Ito, if you follow yung kanyang gene assignment, red, this is roan. Kasi mixture na siya. Mixture ng red at saka white. Ito ay white. Tapos ang kanyang, ito ay complete dominance, yung polledness. So, ibig sabihin, ang homodominant B, that is polled, ibig sabihin, walang sungay. Yung hetero, polled din, because of the presence of the dominant allele and homorecessive B, horned yun. Ngayon, ang tatay, ang parents ay roan. So, susulat natin hetero. Heterozygous polled, hetero B. Crossed with roan na nanay, na may horns. So, Homo recessive B. Yan yung genotype ng parents. Okay? Erasein natin. So, I hope nakopya ninyo yan. Then, we erase para may space. Erase. And then next, ituloy natin. Given that color and food, next. Sabi niya, offspring population daw ay 100. Isulat uli natin yung yung tatay at saka nanay. Ano yung genotype? Hetero A, hetero B crossed with hetero A, Homo recessive B. Ano yung magiging anak? Using Punnett square, makapag-produce tayo ng ano? Ilan? We have Homo dominant A, dominant A, dominant B, dominant A, recessive B, recessive A, dominant B, recessive A, recessive B. Ano ito? Gametes galing sa tatay. Gametes galing sa hetero A, hetero B. Next, hanapin naman natin yung gametes nito. Gametes niyan, applying the law of independent assortment, we have dominant A, recessive B, at saka recessive A, recessive B. Now, we join. I-join natin yung alin? This one. I-join natin yung dominant A with dominant A, we produce homodominant A. Asan na? Homodominant A. And then, we combine dominant B with recessive B, hetero B. Nawa ng cursor ko. Hetero B. Next, sa baba. Homodominant A, homorecessive B. Next, hetero A, hetero B. Next, hetero A, homorecessive B. Homorecessive B. Sunod, hetero A, hetero B, etc. Ang gagawin dito, you combine this with this para ma-fill upan ito. This with this para ma-fill upan ito. And then, you compute ano yung ratio. Ilan ang ganito, ilan ang ganyan, ilan ang ganyan, ilan ganyan. And so that you determine yung fraction or frequency or yung proportion ng mga genotypes na yan. Nakuha? Kasi, yun yung kailangan mo para ma-compute itong roan at saka horn. Kumbaga, ang tinatanong, ilan daw dito sa 100 na population ng offspring, yung kulay ay roan na may sungay. Ilan daw yung may kulay na roan at saka may sungay. Okay? For this, I'm letting you solve this, pero after a few days, ibibigay ko yung sagot so that you can try first. So, i-try nyo muna bago ko ibigay yung sagot. Para alam ko kung paano ba mag-construct ng Punnett square. Paano ba mag-assign ng phenotype. Paano malaman yung genotypic ratio, phenotypic ratio, etc. Okay? Next. Okay, so dyan muna magtatapos yung ating lecture video para hindi masyadong mahaba. And then I'll prepare another for the next slides. Thank you very much, everyone.